Hello guys and welcome to my channel. Today is a plant update video. In this video, I'm going to give you all the amazing updates on my plants inside and outside. So let's get started. So first we're going to start with my Easter cactus, which is doing wonderfully. It is growing lots and lots of new leaves. There's like at least 10 new leaves that I can see, if not more at this point, and they're growing quite well. A few have died off, but that's totally normal when they're growing at least double the ones that are dying off. So if leaves are dying off more than they are growing, that would be a sign of concern. But if your Easter or Christmas cactus is losing more leaves than they're growing, that will be a sign of distress, and you want to see why it's getting distressed. If it's in a too small of a pot, or it doesn't agree, or the soil's not working for it, or it's not getting watered enough, that'll be something you would have to kind of be a detective and figure it out why your cactus is losing more leaves than it's growing. But if it's growing more leaves than it's losing, then it's totally fine. It's not distressed. Like I said, it's growing at least 10 more leaves and it just lost one. So everything is looking good for that guy. Now we are going to look at my Christmas cactuses, which at this point Christmas is over, and right now all you want to see is growing leaves, which is doing wonderfully with that. As you can tell, lots and lots of leaves are growing with this guy. So we're going to move on to my other two Christmas cactuses. These guys who are in the small pots. There's no improvements, which means it's a standstill at this point, which I'm quite okay with, because in the spring I'm going to repot all of my Christmas cactuses. I might have to do them one by one to get the pot that I really want. But everything is looking good with these guys. As you can see, we're still at the standstill with this guy. Possible leaf right there. But everybody's looking good. They're getting fertilized as they should. They're getting plenty of water. I have totally switched all of my plants to rainwater. The ones outside get rainwater, obviously, but the ones inside just been getting tap water. I decided to change that because my aloe plant is dying off now. It's not getting overwatered because the soil only feeds the plant when it's needed. So it's not the soil, it's not the pot, it's a very small aloe. So I'm thinking that it is the water. So I'm switching them all over to rainwater. That way there's no worry that the hardness of the water or whatever's in the water can harm the plant. So all my plants from now on will only be getting rainwater, which I collect outside. And if you can't collect rainwater, you can always go to your local store and pick up distilled water, which is kind of the same thing. It's what I've been told to recommend for orchids, at least. So I decided to just do it for all my plants, since I'm noticing that my aloe is dying off, and it's not the soil, it's not the pot, it's not anything like that. So I'm thinking it's the water, so I switched the water. So before we get to my Phalaenopsis orchids, I'm going to show you my Dracula orchid. As you can hear, my little kitty cat Zach playing back there. But as you can see, this guy is doing quite well. What I do is I dunk it every day, and yeah, everything's looking good. It has like a little leaves maybe falling off. That is because when I first got it, I would forget to water it every day. So I would forget to do it, but now I'm in the habit of doing it, so it should make a comeback hopefully soon, and hopefully soon we'll see some little buds growing, because with Dracula orchids, the buds will actually grow out the side of the basket or under the basket, which is kind of why they're called Dracula orchids. Hang upside down, I bet. But yeah, this is my first Dracula orchid, and I'm kind of excited to see what happens. It gets fertilized with the same fertilizer that I use for my Phalaenopsis orchids. I don't see an issue with that, so everything is looking good with that. So now we're going to move on to my Phalaenopsis orchids, because I have some very exciting news. So if you've been a watcher for a long time, you know that I thought this was going to be a secondary spike. That is not the case, because it's growing a root right there. It's growing a root. So this is now a keiki. Before I thought it was a possible secondary spike, then I thought it's either a 50-50 chance it's a spike or a keiki. Now I know for sure it's a keiki because it's growing a root right there and it has another root trying to come in. But this guy's doing quite well, which would make sense. When it's growing the keiki, it would stop any other growth on the orchid. But it is making some roots down the bottom, but there's no new leaf growth, there's no spike growth, which means you're trying to conserve its energy to growing this baby orchid right here. So that is looking wonderful, and I'll show you my other keiki in just a second. Now we're going to move on to this fowl right here, who is doing quite nicely. The leaf growth is doing well, the spike is doing quite well, and it has lots and lots of roots that are coming in, which is amazing. It has 2 on this side that's coming in, and it has 1 on this side that is coming in. So next is this guy. Like I said, the other 2 has like 3 new roots coming in, not leaves. So this guy's doing quite well. See this big giant leaf here, and it's growing this even bigger leaf right there. And the roots are doing quite well. I did have to, I think it was this guy, I had to cut a root off because it had died. But everything is looking really, really good with this guy. The root system's doing well. Everybody's looking good. So now I have this guy right here who is growing this beautiful big leaf. As you can tell, it's almost the size of the previous leaf, which is amazing. This beautiful big flower spike is growing quite well, and the root system is doing amazing. It has secondary roots coming in, which I'm loving at this point. But everybody's looking good. I'm loving it. So here is one of my smallest orchids growing right now. There's no new leaf growth, but there is plenty of root growth. As you can see, we got roots coming in all the way over here. So everybody's looking good. I would rather it grow roots right now so it has a good root system before it starts to grow on its leaves. That's just what I would like to happen right now. We'll have to see what it decides to do. So here is my other fowl. As you can see, this part right here is the mother, and it stopped growing. If you guys have been watching, you know I've been worried about it growing, but it's also growing a baby right here. We have one of its roots growing right there, and then we got 2 more starting to come out. But I think once these 2 roots are long enough, I will snip it from the mother plant and put it in its own pot so it can grow and thrive, and everything is looking good with that. And now we are going to go outside, and I'm going to show you all my beautiful plants outside and see how they're doing. I'll see you guys in just a sec. Okay guys, we're outside. This is the mother aloe right here, and she now has 7 babies, so she's growing one right here. As you can see, it's growing right there. Everything is looking really, really good. So what I might do is change the soil and put a new baby in there. I probably won't take the one that's starting to grow. I'll probably take one from back there because it's been growing for a while. So yeah, everybody's looking good. I'm loving it. So yeah, I'll probably just change the soil, make sure it's the fresh soil, and then put one in there. Okay guys, so here is my rose bush, who is doing quite well. As you can see, there's a lot of green leaves growing, which is amazing. So hopefully we'll see some buds in the next few months. I'm hoping so. But for now, everything is looking really, really good. Okay guys, we just came back from outside. You saw all the amazing updates and what I plan on doing with the aloe plant. So before we go, I want to discuss all the fertilizers that I use, because this week is fertilizer week. and how I fertilize my plants every couple of weeks. So with my rose bush outside, this is not sponsored, but I love their products, is Miracle-Gro rose plant food. I just sprinkle some of this into one of my mixing cups. I stir it all together, and I go out there and I just water it like that. So yeah, that's what I do with that. But since I'm going to start using rainwater, I'll have to use with my rainwater instead of tap water, since I'm cutting tap water out of my plants' diets at this point. So now we're going to move on to the plant food that I use for everybody else except for my orchids. So this, again, not sponsored, but I love their products. It's Miracle-Gro acid loving plant food, which I'm going to get more of this pretty soon. I use this for my aloe plants, my Christmas cactuses, and my Easter cactuses. That is what I use. Again, I do it the same way I do with the rose, with my rose bush. I feed them the exact same way. But when it comes to my orchids, we're going to start with my Dracula orchid back there. I use the same plant food that I use for my phals. What I do is I have an extra fish bowl, which I dunk it in. I put nice clean water in. I just put a little bit because it says you're not supposed to use a lot of fertilizer with the Dracula orchid, so I just put a little bit, probably a quarter of what I put for my phals. I put in that water and I let it soak for the same amount of time I would let my phals soak, which is about an hour. Then I take it out and I wash it out. What I do is after I fertilize it, I get nice clean rainwater and I dunk it, so I rinse out all of the fertilizer so it's not sitting on the plant, because that's not good for the plant. So here are the soils, the fertilizers I use for my orchids. This is the regular fertilizer that I use for orchids that have leaves and roots and don't have flower spikes, like that guy back there right now. So this is the one I would use for that guy. And the ones that have flower spikes and have buds on them, this is the one I use. This is the Bloom Booster that I use. All of the links to all these fertilizers that I use will be in the description below in case you want to check them out for yourself. And what I do with my phals is I put them in like Tupperware containers. It's just something I use from the house. It's not really fancy. It's just like Tupperware, whatever Tupperware I can find that will hold my orchids, basically. And I get some rainwater, I pour some of that in there, and I pour whichever fertilizer I'm using for that orchid into it. And I put about 2, maybe 3, if I can fit 3 in that container. And I let them soak for an hour. Then I take them out and I put them in nice, clean, fresh water. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, share it to grow our community, and subscribe if you're new here. I do these videos every single Tuesday, and hit that bell so you're always notified when I put out new videos. And I'll see you guys next week.